alive in me in a way where basically when I talk about it, I'm actually already looking at the scene how it's taking place. Watch this here now. Jesus on the block. You know how that shit go. Jesus on the block. But they don't call it the block back then because that wasn't their language. But he was on the block. Like in a little cut in the alleyway. So let's say we over there in the parking lot, see? Boom. We talking. Perez pull up. Hey. Hey, Blake, chill us out. You Blake, right? Yeah, that's me. All of a sudden, he already back up, and the other officers back up a little bit because of the impression that this man has. Come on, man. You talking about a group of soldiers that come to get him. See this? When he says, yeah, that's me, and he turns around to them, yeah, that's me, what's up? They fall back. So what kind of impression does Jesus have? Like, what kind of look does he have? What kind of demeanor for people to run up on him with their knives out? Hey, yeah, we're looking for you. But then when he looks at them, they fall back. You see what I'm saying here? See, people don't, that part right there, people don't really study that. What can give an impression so strong that a group of men will fall back by the impression of one man? What kind of look does Jesus have? That means he's not no skinny, puny dude. This man here has a motherfucking, he has a size. Basically, he's like a silverback nigga. He's a gorilla nigga. Yeah, Jesus was a black man. So we already know, look how black men are built by nature. When we pump it up a little bit more, we just get more gorilla with it. But from nature, we already come out with a physique. See what I'm saying? So imagine how Jesus looked. Remember, he's perfect. So you already know he's looking like, damn. This man balances the air, the water. So you know he's strong. He commands all this shit. So you know he's perfect. So perfect to the point where he reflected something fearful to these people when they ran up on him. Now, check this out, right? Because this is how they've changed him around. But like I told you, his disciples respected him so much that when these people touched it, first they fell, then they came, then they got up, because they know the job that they come to do. They got to do it. So now they come back and they grab him. Hey, you coming with us? Okay. Peter cut one of their ears off. Why you playing? Leave them alone. Now, see the situation? That's like having a man around me who's willing to kill a police officer right there for even trying to put me in some handcuffs. That's how that shit went down. Because that's who came to get him, an officer. See what I'm saying? So now, you're looking at the scenario, damn, what would make this man want to kill the officer touching Jesus, right? Look at the scenario here. After supposedly Jesus was teaching so much about love. Now, I'm saying that in that way because I want you to understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Jesus did teach them about love, right? He taught them about love. Because basically what Jesus was saying was, the ultimate thing that God wants you to do is love your neighbor. You see that? But those things had to happen in order for Jesus to show the love. You see what I'm saying? For example, when Jesus got upper handed, Peter cut the guy's ears off. Boom. Now Jesus gets to show the love. Why? He gets to tell him, hey, no, there's going to be a moment for that. Right now, put the sword away. See? In the middle of it. It couldn't be seen. It couldn't be done no other way. It can't be done where I'm just telling you about this. Because you're not really going to understand it. But now when that happened, now that you just struck somebody, cut his ear off, right here on this scene, I can tell you, now hold up, man, put that sword up. We ain't living like that. Boom. Hey, don't worry about it. You good. See? Now everybody here saw that. That's the difference. That's why I tell you it has to happen in a real way. Like the things you go through, that's why I tell you, what I go through, it has to happen in a real way. Because with God, there is no such thing as a practice. You see what I'm saying? There is no practice. No, you just got to obey the word, because when you read it, he already tells you what to do. You feel me? So now, when you are going through it, your practice is to do what God said do. That's the practice. Now, if you don't do what God says do, you're going to get smashed by the thing. But it's going to repeat itself until you overcome it by obeying God's word. But you're not going to understand that it's repeating itself, first of all. Because your eyes are not even open to understand that it repeats itself. Because if your eyes were open to understand that it repeats itself, then you would understand the Bible. These stories cover every story that's happening under the sun, and they all repeat themselves because they're all this. Every story is this story right here. There is no story outside of that. Everything that happens on the planet is already written about, and it repeats itself through every individual or every bird, every whatever. Whatever a bird does, it's already written about that bird. A bird is not going to do something outside of its nature because that's not what God gave it the purpose for. But anyways, so now Jesus, in the scenario of the occurrence, right there, he showed them, just like in the storm. He was sleeping. Peace, because he is peace. He was in peace. He wasn't worried about the storm. They were. They woke him up. See, the people are the ones that, the same thing like what you do. Hey, babe, and I'm looking at you like, but I get it though, because remember, I'm in Christ. So when you do things like that, I completely understand it.
Why does wake you up for?
Not wake me up. See, you're not catching what I'm saying.
Okay, got
it. It doesn't have to be wake up, baby. It could be in anything.
Got it.
So now, I might be in peace, in my peace, but you might come with something to actually disturb that peace. But in the disturbance of that peace, it's a lesson for you to learn, because that's the same thing happened to Jesus. He was in peace. He was sleeping. And they came and woke him up to disturb him out of his peace. Hey, master, man, the storm, we perish, we're gonna die. And look what the first words come out of his mouth to them. Oh, ye of little faith. You see what Jesus told them? Oh, ye of little faith. He didn't say nothing about no, hey, chill, bro, it's gonna be okay. Relax. No, he said, man, you soft ass nigga. That's what he said. See? But what happens? The interpretation of today, people don't want to accept it. We do not speak like how they spoke. But what does God want us to do? Learn this. He wants us to speak like how he spoke. Because he wants us to reflect who? Jesus. So that's why we're supposed to know the Bible. So we're supposed to learn this enough to the point where we're speaking it. Because when we're speaking it, then we know that we're speaking in the highest form of language. We're speaking in God's language. You get what I'm saying? But then we know that when we're speaking in God's language, what happens? People are not going to be able to understand. And people are not going to be able to interpret. Because you're speaking in God's language. Remember, you're not doing nothing but repeating what's already written. So what makes you think they're going to understand it when it's right here and they couldn't understand it then? See? So that's how God gives you the explanation of what you're speaking about. Now you get what I'm saying? Because like that, for example, let's do it like this. A pastor right now, all the wicked pastors, they know the same thing I know. The Bible. We know the same thing, right? But how come I could teach them? Why is that? Because they don't know it in truth. They know it based on how they learn to study it. How God reveals it to me is in truth. Now you see the difference?
person.
So it's different. That's why he puts me in a position to teach. Because when this pastor would say something like blah blah blah, then I'm gonna be like, yeah, you're right, because that is written in the Bible. But there's also a passage that says blah blah blah, because you know God is already gonna blah blah blah, and He been you that you're gonna come like that, because that's exactly how they came to Christ. They always came with these tempting questions. See, and I'm gonna understand how He's gonna come, and I'm gonna give him his question. I'm gonna answer his question, and I'm gonna give him dialogue about the same thing he's doing of how they did Christ. See, why? Because that's the part they're not gonna understand. The one who they're actually talking to is Christ Himself, because that's the one I represent. That's how. That's the one. And look, you gotta know Jesus. Jesus is an awesome dude. You know, Jesus went through what he went through because he was supposed to go through it. That body was prepared for that. That's the reason why that body got taken back up. See, people don't understand the significance of that body, and people are they're indoctrinated with some bullshit. That body took something that no one could see, and I've seen it in a vision. I've seen it. I've seen like glimpse of the body getting whipped. Cause I seen the whips they had. They were with metal or things at the end, and the flesh was ripping. I seen it. So now, right? And that was like a dream. I think it was like a dream, like a vision. I forgot, but it was a long time ago when I first came to Christ. Anyways, I understood right there why God did not let that body remain, because it was a sacrifice so perfect. You know, when God right now had that body up there, it's like a picture frame. You see how we have the picture frames here in our houses, and we could be reminded of our mothers, how they looked it, or our grandma or dad. Okay, God has the body that got whooped and beat, spit on. He has that right there to visualize on what his son did. Because remember, his son was in that body. Christ, the word of God, was in that body. And God looks at that and says, damn, boy, you went down there and you took the world. Like, like you really took the world. All the hate of the world is on that body. See, you think you've been hated on, right? You ain't been hated on like Jesus been hated on. You feel me? And people don't even understand that when God looks at how all that hate, He looks at the people and he's like, damn, bro, y'all just hating for no reason. Like, y'all really under the sway of the wicked one. So that's why that body was not here. So then you got the disciples who died at being martyrs. And that's the thing that really is really in, people don't understand. Like that guy was saying in the that footage. Those people weren't preaching for gain. They didn't get they weren't bro. Literally, if you really look at it, there was nothing out of the deal. See, that's the thing, and that's the truth. That's why this is so backwards nowadays, and that's why all the Christians that go to church. Let me tell you something. The Christians that go to church, they're not actually going to church because they actually want to learn God, bro. And that's the truth, man. And see, when people start telling themselves the truth of why they go to church, the real reason why people go to church is because they want to learn how to prosper. They think that going to church, you can listen to the words of God and also learn on how to prosper financially and all these things. That's the reason why the church is wicked. Because no one's going to actually seek God. Remember, if you're going to seek God, you wouldn't go in there with glasses and all that, butyrol pumps and canes and all that, because who you're going to seek can heal you. So if everybody keeps going continuously with canes, with walkers, with wheelchairs, who are you seeking? Because the story has not changed, and it's always been written of what Jesus can do. And Paul, after Jesus rose from the dead, that he got confronted, he was still doing things in the name of who? Jesus. So if you're still going to church with all these things, man, you got to be careful where you're going. Obviously, where you're going is not the right place. But it's two things. This person has to be in love, God, and this person has to believe that God can heal him, Jesus. See? Then it makes the perfect union. Boom, and that's a boom. And that explosion is salvation. Because that dynamite that blows up inside of you is a good boom, because it's the force that God transcends from one man to another for healing to take place. That's awesome. So that's why you have to listen. I'm gonna tell you the verse that taught me everything about knowing how to believe, and I'm gonna show you the verse because I want you to really study this. So like that, you could be on point of what's going on, man. Because if not, you sleep. And if you're asleep, sorry, baby. Look, it says right here. Likewise, also, these dreamers defile the flesh, reject authority, see, and speak evil of dignitaries. So now you got to understand what that right there means. Speak evil of dignitaries. Verse 8. Glorious ones. How you gonna speak evil of a glorious one if you don't even know the glorious one's function? For example, watch this here. I'm gonna give you the games you can learn. Right now, you go to Dubai, right? Embiid is the president, is the king's son. But you know the dad got Alzheimer's, so the dad can't really function. So the son, it just took over, right? Yeah. If you right now go over there and disrespect him in any kind of way, you finna get prosecuted. Right? Because how dare you speak of a glorious one in that way? You don't know his purpose. You don't know what God is using him for. Now you see what I'm saying? Even though despite that he's doing wickedness, but just like Pharaoh, what if God is using him to demonstrate his power? You can't. You see what I'm saying? So that doesn't give you the authority to talk about him. Watch this. It does not give you that authority. Because look, and there's an explanation to this is why this is so serious to me. Because after this, God gives you an explanation of what Michael did so that you don't do it. Watch. He say, yet Michael the archangel contending with the devil when he disputed about the body of Moses, did not bring against him a reviling accusation, but said, the Lord rebuke you. So I say, damn, hold up. But the archangel is more powerful than Satan because he's God's right hand angel. You know what I'm saying? He guards the gate. So ain't nobody finna come in here. And he's contending with the devil over the body of Moses. And he dare not. The word says dare. See? Dare is the word used there to describe what he would not do. He dared not. Like, he's not even gonna cross that line like that. You can't trick me, is what he's saying. You cannot trick me to disrespect you when I know that you're a glorious one. See? But I know what to do. The Lord rebuke you. I know what to do. I can do that. Now you see what I'm saying? So then I learned that's why, and when I stopped interpreting Satan how the people would, that's when God gave me more information about him. Because now God is saying, see, Blake, now you're understanding. So then, I don't see Satan as, I see him the same way God sees him. You know what I'm saying? God gave me the outlook on him. That's what it is. And I teach you to identify his characteristics and why he's important in the game, who he is. So once you understand who he is, you don't even worry about him no more, because you understand that he's just a player in the game. For example, when you're playing baseball, you have to step on the base. See? So even the base is playing. Because if you run and don't step on the base, and they able to see that, and they throw the ball to that player over there, you're out. You see what I'm saying? So Satan is like a base. Now you get it? He's just part of the game. And you got to accept him for who he is, because God put him there as a player. You can't disrespect no referee when you're playing the game. You get expelled for that. And he's part of the game. And a lot of the time, the referee's going to do what? Call the shots against you. You see that? But he's part of the game, and you just got to play around him. He's part of the game. And that's what Satan is. He's part of the game. So God tells you, be watchful. See? He's telling you to be watchful for him. Because this is how he can trick you in your pride, arrogance. So there's those type of things we're on point of. So now, you said it yourself, the book is studied in colleges as a history book. See? So they know that it's not a fictional book. So why colleges let there be arguments about the book? If they study it as a history book, because in
not
fact...
in all colleges, like,
huh?
Not in all academia is studied as a historical text. Because there are people who don't want to accept it as of course.
Right. But it is, though. See, this is the thing. Whoever doesn't want to accept it, okay, cool. But it's already proven that it is. See? You not wanting to accept it, that's you not wanting to accept it. But the fact that it's proven that it is, that's already covered. And not just in one institution. They got institutions around the world that use this book as what it is. See that? So we ain't even worried about the people that don't accept it, because we in knowledge of what it truly is. Why do you think the Constitution was written based on this? You're not going to write a constitution of a country based on something that's false. Now, the reason why they let there be discussions about this all over the world is because, remember, the plan is so that you don't know your true identity in God. And so that they can continue doing what they're doing. That's why they allow for that to be argued and stuff like that. Because, remember, you got to reverse the whole thing. You got to reverse the whole, reverse the whole thing is? You got to reverse life. It's like you got to hit the switch and say, hold up, man. Damn. Mom, what does that mean? It means they got to free all the black folks. You know what I'm saying? You got to repair the damage that we've done, because all this judicial system, all this is really written to destroy them. So we gotta undo this. But now, that same mechanism, God uses it to wash men. Because what what others intend for your evil, God uses it for your blessing. But you gotta turn to God. For example, God says, far or near, wherever you at, if you believe in me and you return to me with all your heart, I'll be your God right there where you at, and you'll be my people. And I'll make even your enemies to be at peace with you. See? So I learned that being in prison. Because that right there, well, when I first accepted Christ, I learned that in jail, really. And I said, damn, okay, I'm right here in prison. I'm right here in jail now. And when I put that verse to work, everything went for me. Everything went according to my plans. And I was like, damn, I understood that. That's why I understood now what God does. God is a different type of being compared to a human. Humans try to actually think like God. You can't. His thoughts are not your thoughts, and they're higher than yours, and his ways are not your ways. So God don't change. We do. God is always the same. But Jesus is something else. He's wonderful. He's awesome. That's the reason. And that body that God is looking at, what Jesus took. Wow. And what people don't know is that he had to die like that, because that's the same way they put the snake on the pole so that all Israelites could be cured whenever they had gotten bitten. Remember that? So the same way God made Israel look to the snake, now God made Jesus. Now God made the world look to Jesus. See, remember, the only one that had to look to that snake was Israel, not the whole world. But now, in order for you to be saved, you have to look to Jesus. I love how God did that. That's why I tell you, everything that was written about before is a replica of what takes place now. You feel me? See, before Israel looked at the snake, now the world got to look at Jesus. God told Israel how to build the temple. Now you got everybody around the world trying to build temples. You see what I'm saying? And God clearly let you know that all the temples, if you read the story, first of all, the man of God gotta put the priest in. All these priests are being put in by the government. How can the government put a priest in? Or a pastor?